Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Blues Talk. Again, John Dave and myself. We're going to look back over Leinster's pretty poor performance up in Ravenhill last weekend and a review of the entire Pro 12 season. And of course, look forward to our semi-final that we've managed to get into against the Scarlets.
And of course, next weekend being a weekend free of rugby entirely.
Well, anyway, we'll talk about a match at the weekend. It was our first loss, lads, since Stevens' day.
Yeah.
In the Pro 12, but unfortunately we're second successive defeat up in Belfast.
Oh, I was a bit sick of now, in fairness. That I felt all along that Munster were going to top the league. Right away from when I looked at the fixtures at Christmas, and from the time they beat us, I said, there's no way they're not going to top the league. I just can't see it happen. And I felt like that right up until I think just before we played Claremont. And I was starting to go, we might actually top it ourselves, lads. There's a chance. And the closer it got to the end, I felt, we're going to let's set the record here. And as it turns out, Munster, we did set the record for the highest points in the league, but Munster went and beat it this weekend
By one.
And so the game itself was fairly poor review. I don't know how we managed to not win that game with the way their line-out was imploding, and how we didn't get their scrum on toast earlier than we did, and given both of those factors, how we didn't generate enough ball, we just spec balls all over the place.
Extraordinary amounts of unprofessionalism for us not to win that match. It really
tried. I mean,
but you called it, Dave, didn't you? You said that Leinster have a very good chance.
Phoning one in like this, we do it. Put it this way: people say, why does it matter? Because there's nothing in the game for Leinster. There was nothing really. Do you think if Saracens were playing Ulster, Saracens would have done that?
Well, Saracens didn't top their league either.
No, they didn't. No,
they actually did something like that.
But I don't think good teams do that. I think good teams are ruthless. Leinster 2012 wouldn't have done that.
But there was 2 award ceremonies. Now, I'm not saying that the boys are on the piss or anything like that, but they were, they had those distractions, right?
Yeah.
They had qualified already. And when you think there was 5 if you count Conan coming back into the team when...
There was a lot of disjointed.
So it was disjointed selection. There was 10 changes, essentially. And plus, that Ulster had a pretty shocking season by anyone's standards. Didn't get out of the European Cup. Blew an opportunity getting into the playoffs. And this was their last chance of redemption, particularly when their highest
home fans.
Last game of the season in front of their home fans. Obviously, Roger Wilson calling it a day, highest caps for Ulster, and not to mention Pienaar, who was their Issa Nasiwa for the last 7 years. That they tried to build their team around. Now he wasn't as successful as Issa was, but he was still, a guy that played in a World Cup final or won a World Cup, and was still getting his game for South Africa while playing in Belfast, which not very many blacks were getting.
Do that too.
That's all very well and good, but there's 2 P's. There's pride and professionalism, right?
And Pienaar.
Like you said, Leinster won half of Ulster's lineouts,
At least.
right? Made shit of the rest. Totally dominant in the scrum. Had all the possession they could want, right? The referee was neither fish nor foul to either team, right? And yet still lost because they went out there and they played half-assed Mickey Mouse rugby for 80 minutes.
They forced it a lot. They tried to force, and the closer it got to the end, the more Carberry had 2 balls out into touch close to the end. Just trying to force it. Ringrose had a lovely break through the middle there near the end, and I thought, here we go, we're going to steal this. And I think it was a bit
Leon moment.
I think there was about 8 minutes to go when he did it, and he broke straight through the centre. Unfortunately, he didn't have anyone close enough, and he just had to go to ground with the ball, and he was.
But you see, those kind of 50-50 things, they shouldn't have come close. Ulster are fucking dreadful.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, just because Pienaar's leaving, it doesn't suddenly make them better. Just because Roger Wilson's leaving doesn't suddenly make them better. They're a dreadful team.
It galvanises them, Dave. And
Leinster, absolutely
did. And Leinster just didn't have.
Well, should finishing top of your league not galvanise you?
But it was immaterial. Like, if you're going to lose a game, lose this one, because it's immaterial of whether you play really Ospreys or Scarlets.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
See, the problem is, this is the same kind of thing that happened against Castres, and look what happened to us. We ended up away in Lyon because of it. Because we didn't put our entire 100% focus on winning a game that was to a certain extent a dead rubber as well. you know, and we ended up having to
But
win
go-
the semi-final and then or quarter-final
But
and then go
going-
away to Lyon.
but Dave,
These things bite you in the ass.
Going to France and getting the draw is a hell of a lot more. It's a lot harder to do that than it is going to Belfast. I grant you, but there was a different set of circumstances in that game. That it was like as though it was just teed up for Ulster to win that game because they had all of the things were just falling into
Well,
place.
I don't accept that at all. I mean, Ulster they were without any of their lines, right?
True.
They had their, if you like, their next international cab off the rank on the bench was pulled out before the match. You know, and as I say, they couldn't win a line out. They couldn't win a scrum. You know, there was no the things that were teed up. There was okay, Ulster had a certain emotional boost, but we're a way better team than them, and we had way stronger team. I mean, we had. I mean, they weren't without any lines. We had a virtually all line front row, or certainly 2 lines props, and then we had another line sitting on the bench as prop. You know, I mean, I just think that if you get into a habit of treating some games as being less important than other games, then it does come back and bite you. Because, for example, now we have to play. Now, I think we're better than Scarlets as well, but we have to play Scarlets. I'd much rather have played. I know we always think that Ospreys, because Ospreys are a poor team. Dan Bigger is injured, you know. But now we have
Reece
to face.
Webb is in shit form.
Yeah, and now we have to face an in-form Scarlets type team.
Yeah, they haven't lost a game. They've lost 1 game since September, and that was to us in the RDS.
And something you also point out, Jason. Our away now, okay, it's away games, but the only away game we won against the top 5 was away to Ospreys.
Yeah, and that was only by a point or two.
So that shows that there is a significant issue with the. You know, we scored so many tries, all those bonus points added up, kind of thing. You know, we lost all of our big away games away from home.
Lost to Munster away, Scarlets away, Ulster away, and Glasgow away.
Yeah.
We're 4 defeats this season in the league.
Yeah, that's fairly. That's 6th, 5th, 3rd, and 2nd, and 1st.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody except the Scarlets, or except the Ospreys.
So all I'm saying is, if this is 2008 Leinster, when we should be looking to be 2012 Leinster. Just in terms of mindset. I'm not saying we can be as good as that team or as bad as that team or whatever. Just in terms of mindset, or not even 2008 Leinster, 2007 Leinster.
However, firstly, we lost the game by 4 points, and if we'd have won the game by 1 point, we would have been heroes, no matter how shite we played, because we would have topped the league, would have broken the points record we already broke the tries record, we broke the points scored record. We basically did everything except top the league and keep the ship rolling. So we were 1 shit game away from being a super duper season, and it just because it was the last game, it takes the gloss off.
It does, I agree. But if you look at our selection, right?
Yeah.
We were missing. Like I remember when I was watching the match on Saturday, I was thinking, God, if only Sexton and/or Henshaw were playing, because by far they were our 2 most important.
Ross Byrne was playing.
Well, maybe so, Dave. But I'm just talking about fellas that are going to pretty much start in the semi-final, right? Like Henshaw, when he's played this season, he's played loads of times for us, but when he's played, he's been absolutely exceptional.
Best player.
And Johnny Sexton has been coming into great form recently. If those 2 lads are around a bit, then you take out Sean O'Brien from that team. Like
Our third line.
our third line, and like I was laughing at, I was reading some
rested.
comments like saying that Levy and Conan and these lads are ahead. Like, no way are they ahead of them.
I mean, no, they're great players, but we saw when Sean comes back. When you see Sean, like say against Wasps, you see the difference he makes. I mean, he's a genuine world class player. Whereas they're just
they're
just
very good,
very
but
promising.
they're starting to come true, and they will eventually take his place.
Absolutely.
But not them. And then you have Heaslip, like, so that's 4 very, very influential.
Both Kearneys.
And both Kearneys, take those lads away. You're kind of coming down to the guys have done really well. Like Carberry's still a young lad. Like, I mean, at the start of our doing our blue stuff this season, we were doing a countdown of how many games he's played. 8 games this so far, and three caps included, and all this kind of stuff. But one lad I thought was excellent was Adam Byrne. Like,
I think he was really good. Yeah.
Considering that he had obviously got a bit of a kick in the teeth not getting selected for the semi-final in Europe.
Yeah.
Definitely had a point to prove.
I thought he was very good. He was the highlight of the back line for me. I think the problem with Joey Carberry is not the problem. He's quite inexperienced at out half. I mean, he's only played, I think, 5 starts for Leinster at out half this season, because he got injured that time against Northampton, and then by the time he came back, he was fullback. But I think if you're going to play that controlled chaos game, you do need a pivot, a steady pivot around which you can rotate. I mean, if you look at New Zealand, they always had Dan Carter. Before that, they had Andrew Mertens, who played they played an orthodox, and they were brilliant at it, but they did play an orthodox game. I think Leinster. Yeah. We needed Johnny Sexton to play that orthodox game as opposed to
in that era,
Felipe.
they had Christian Cullen.
Yeah.
At
fullback, which we have Carter.
And
maybe
They also had Carlos Spencer in there.
But how many caps did Carlos Spencer? I mean, I used to love watching Carlos. I mean, who didn't love watching him play?
Yeah.
But generally, when it came down to the big games, they picked Mertens.
Mm.
Oh, always. Yeah.
That's because of the control, like you're talking about. You know, you don't have to be the best, the most fancy player in the world, but you have to do the control shit, and that's what kind of sunk Ian Madigan's ship.
Yeah.
He could do everything. He's a fabulous rugby player. He could fire passes out of nowhere. One of my Ulster mates who was standing beside me on the terrace said to me just before the end of the match, that's an Ian Madigan performance right there. You know, that's you know, forcing really long passes.
Was it three skip passes into touch?
But skip twos and skip threes and turn it into touch, like it lacks that control that.
Exactly. It was
okay.
He was trying to force it.
But you might have, as you mentioned 2008, and you might have seen Johnny Sexton have a display like that in 2008. But fast forward 2 or 3 seasons later, when he's, you know.
Well, I think that the Leinster team under Felipe were always going to look great, but ultimately be flawed. Whereas when Johnny Sexton took over, that's when Leinster went into overdrive. And I think that a team like Leinster that plays the way that Leinster do, the Leinster DNA needs that node of calm and control.
It's possibly also why Felipe always played at 12 for the Argentinians, you know.
Yeah.
He never played 10 for them.
Well, they always played with a very orthodox.
They were probably the most conservative team at the time. Like
what's his name? The guy who's the coach in France was their out half. Quesada, who's a very, very orthodox out half, and then they had Felipe beside him.
Yeah. And, you know, Ian Madigan was moved out as well. Similar kind of player, and they were going for the second playmaker with himself and Goppert, you know, and now they're going for the second playmaker with Carberry at full back, which I'm starting to think that's a better option because you've more places you can appear. You know, when you're 10 and 12, you're too close together. Your two playmakers are very close together. I like the coming in out from full back.
Yeah, if you're a player with Carberry's talent and his vision, and you see the whole pitch in front of you.
Exactly.
I mean, it can be lethal. We saw it against Wasps. Now, he made a few mistakes, but he also did wonderful things. He saw incredible opportunities. And that's what when he's at full back, he can see the whole pitch in front of him. I think that's the best for now.
I wonder if there was some, you know, I wouldn't say interference, but maybe a suggestion from Smith to say, well, look, it is kind of a dead rubber. Give him an opportunity to play 10
against Paddy Jackson.
Yeah, because like the Irish tour is coming up, and obviously Sexton's going to be away for that.
Yeah, well, you know, in fairness to Joey Carberry, he's just been bounced back into 10.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah,
loads of time at 15. Plus, I've got stuff in my fridge that's older than Joey Carberry. You know, and I know you've got stuff in your fridge that's older than Joey Carberry too.
Stuff doesn't last in my fridge all that long.
So, you know, it's you gotta expect that a guy like that in a situation like that is, you know, gonna force it a bit at times.
It's all about gaining experience. I
do wish they brought Ross Byrne on though, maybe with 20 to go. Even move
Joey to fullback.
Yeah. But you know, maybe they wanted him to have a bit of a poor game to say keep your feet on the ground, like these people were, you know, blowing smoke up his ass and saying, oh, he could be a bolter, I hate that word, but it could be a bolter for the Lions, you know, when especially after his display against Wasps, and you've got the Sky juggernaut coming in behind it and all that kind of crack. And, you know, he has had this unbelievable season. Like, they just had the Ulster Bank League final on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was only a year ago that he was starting in it. Now, he started in it, fair enough, but like, all the other lads that watched the match, when I watched the match yesterday, you know, there was a few ex-Leinster players playing, a few Munster lads, but at the end of the day, they're predominantly amateurs in that on that pitch, and that's what Joey was. And within a year, like, you think he's played for Ireland, and now we're kind of saying, my God, that performance was shocking. It was, you know,
whereas the few Irish players with a 100% record against New Zealand.
I just think that it was unfortunate for him that he I think he could have done with a better game against Paddy Jackson. I mean, there was that little battle as well, because there is the summer tour to be.
Well, Jackson wasn't exactly on fire himself.
No, but he didn't have to be.
But yeah, he didn't have to be.
Lads, what do you think of the experiment that the Pro 12 did with putting all of the derbies in the last round of matches? I think it was a very good idea, but it was
It just didn't work out.
it just didn't work out this year.
Yeah, good idea, but it just didn't work out. That's.
If there had been a bit more to play for, I mean, the Welsh Derby was the only one
Yeah.
that really had a bit to play for.
But like that, I mean, if all of the matches had to come down to a
Italian.
similar situation as those two matches, see if they, but when you were watching the Leinster match and then at the same time I taped it and I didn't even bother watching it because it was immaterial how many points Munster won by, really.
Well, if Munster were playing Leinster in the last game of the season, that would have been a humdinger because it would have been for first and second, and it would have been, But as it happened, they were playing the other two Irish teams, so yeah, not as exciting. It would have been a bit of a bruising encounter to be having right at the end. It'd be, especially with possible European finals and semi-finals of the Pro 12.
And possibly playing each other in the...
It's good that we had a kind of a, like with hindsight, obviously I'd rather we won the bloody game and did all those things we just said, but it's good that we've had our blowout now and we've taken the shine off our lads might come in a bit hungrier now into the semi-final and taking less for granted than they might.
The one thing that Jack Conan's attitude after the match was extremely, as a fan, was very positive because he was really, really angry. And it's one thing a bit angry and saying the right things, and then another thing actually putting them into practice. But he looked really, really pissed off, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be a long of us journey home down.
I'd say so, yeah.
Well, before you showed the penalty try, Dave, I just wanted to say that, like a young lad, Porter switched over from loose head to tight head, and he didn't look out of place.
No.
Scrum wasn't any less dominant when he came on.
I mean, Ulster wouldn't exactly be. I mean, we're not talking about Northampton States 2011 here. They were poor enough, but he still came on. He still had to do a job against a much more experienced thing. And with a guy who's played maybe has he played half a dozen games at tight head?
I don't think so.
Played for UCD.
Yeah.
I suppose. I think he played there in school.
I've heard that he did, and I've heard that he didn't. It's hard to know, but
it's kind of irrelevant because you can't push
and stuff like that. So, but I'll tell you one thing: if he keeps going the way he's going, he's going to have a bright future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems to be looking good.
Well, we got Mr. P. Troy got on his.
It's been a
while. Hibernation.
He hasn't been doing very much for us recently.
Matt O'Connor era. He was one of our highest scorers.
He was our highest scorer.
Was he?
One of the years, yeah.
So it wasn't Andrew Porter in this scrum.
Tag.
And it was on 60 minutes, so I don't think he came on to about 70 minutes. But Cian Healy was really doing the business. It was his side of the scrum that went up there, you could see.
But if you notice, actually, their loose head is folding in. You can see it on the next two scrums.
Deck chair like.
Yeah, he's folding in because he just can't. He can't stay straight.
As it's known in the trade, the Gethin Jenkins.
He just can't stay straight. It's the second scrum. And watch him here. We just absolutely. Ty goes right through him and his hooker mate.
Yeah.
Look, he's in there.
Now, if that had been Wayne Barnes reffing, it would have been a penalty to Ulster. There was a little bit of handbags in there. See what you mean about Jack Conan being a bit pissed off there?
Yeah.
He does have a bit of an angry head on him, doesn't he?
I don't mind seeing that at all.
Well, this got us back into contention, got us back within 4 points. Unfortunately, it was the last point we scored in the game.
And this is the final scrum. And again, you'll see, look, sideways, he's gone. We've driven right through their front row. There's all of them up.
So what are they going to do?
Ref's already gone under the post there.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Really, fair enough penalty try.
I don't think, they were they were clear and obvious to use the phrase.
Yeah.
So that was our 91st try, Pro 12.
Our 127th of the season.
Excellent.
And we went to...
I need a new hard drive.
We went to Mr. P. Try for our only score of the game, which is disappointing given the backline we have. So, a lot of lessons there for Scarletania.
I mean, the thing is, I've been quite critical of them. But I mean, as you say, there were opportunities. If Luke McGrath holds that ball, for example,
Yeah. Oh, there was loads.
he's galloping under the post, and there were opportunities like that as well. So my just annoyance is that you need to be pathological. So to get to the very top, you have to be pathological, and we're not there yet.
But like this team has far exceeded its expectations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If we were doing a preview of this at the start of the season,
As have Munster, in fairness.
well, we'll get to them
Well, even
shortly.
more.
But I agree with you, John. Like we would not have expected to have been in the semi-final of Europe,
No.
No,
and we might have expected to be the pointy end of the Pro 12 because, I mean, you just have to look down the table and you can see pretty much from Glasgow down, which is the 6th place team. Like we've won both our home and away matches against the bottom 7 down to 12.
just to take that even on another level. I mean, you talk about we wouldn't expect to be in the semi-final. We'll be watching. We'll all watch the Heineken Cup or the European Champions Cup final, and we'll be disappointed that we're not in it.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll rue those first 15 points that we
Absolutely.
so easily gave away. So it just shows that how close we were and how far beyond expectations we have come.
Yeah.
But it also shows that there are things in this team that have to be fixed. I mean, we talked about that. We did concede those first 15 points because we went out there for whatever reason, cold in the head. We did do what we did last weekend. We did throw that game away in Castres. So we have a tendency. We're not mentally. We're not there yet. The team has all the talent needed to win any trophy.
Yeah.
Just needs that last mental 1 or 2%.
When you're in a position, like it's very hard to get to the position we were in on Saturday at 3 o'clock, where you're one game away from smashing all kinds of records. You won't get it back into that position again anytime soon,
No.
most likely.
It's like the Miami
The
Dolphins.
fact that you're there and just drive it home. Like,
the Miami Dolphins went unbeaten back in the early 70s, and that team still
In
meets
colonial rugby.
in colonial rugby. But they were nearly 45, 50 years later, they still meet up and celebrate when a team like the Patriots, whoever, who
Coming up
lose
to their record.
and they lose one of the games so that they won't have their unbeaten season. And it's like that, as you say. I mean, we would have been going practically the entire calendar year unbeaten in the Pro 12, only for that.
Aberration.
Aberration. But like you mentioned Munster, you have to take off your hats to both Munster and Leinster, considering like the vast number of players that both sides contribute to the Irish team. Like I think I just look back at the Ireland-England match, our most recent international, and we had 7 of the starters and 3 on the bench, and Munster had 8 in the 23. So both those sides are contributing a huge amount at the pinnacle of international rugby.
Yeah.
And one of them is doing it from their own ranks.
Yeah.
Well,
It's easier to
They
if
might
you
know
can
this,
sign.
will you?
No, I'll be factually accurate. If you can sign an extra 6 foreign players, it makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
well, they still contribute a lot of players to the national team, and they finished ahead of us by a point. And at the end of the day, the league table doesn't lie. It's still they top the league now.
They won more. They won.
They won
more,
19 games.
Yeah, but they won more away games than they won home games. They lost twice at home and only once away
That's
to us.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, they lost to Cardiff and Scarlets at home, and they lost one away to us. So that's in itself is pretty impressive. It's not impressive to lose at home, but it's really impressive to win practically all your away matches. I mean that's something we didn't do, as you just said. We lost to all of the other top 5 bar Ospreys, or top 6 bar Ospreys. So Munster most certainly didn't do that. They lost to Cardiff and the Scarlets. So they lost to one. Or they lost to ourselves away. That was it.
So you mentioned the Scarlets. So obviously we have secured that home semi-final, but I think a lot of us might have preferred the Ospreys, but we ended up with the Scarlets.
Absolutely.
It's unusual to want to play the Ospreys in knockout rugby, given our history, but they're not in a good place at the moment.
And it would have been a chance to beat them for a second time in history in a knockout game. I had an Ospreys mate that I was hoping to get over for the semi-final as well. That didn't work out. Have to bring it over for the final. Anyway, sorry Dave, I interrupted you there.
No.
80th time tonight.
No. I was just going to say that Scarlets are actually playing very, very effective rugby.
Oh yeah.
It's not traditional Scarlets rugby, but it's very, very effective, and they're on form.
Mm.
They're just coming off given, they gave the Jacks a right walloping.
They did.
And that always sets up the Turks to feel good.
If you look at the coaching in Welsh regions get a lot of their coaching structures get a lot of stick. If you look at the Scarlets, are the only ones with a foreign coach. They've got Wayne Pivac, whatever way you pronounce it, and there's the other three regions have all Welsh coaches. Not that I'm knocking Welsh coaches, I'm not that impressed with Tandy, the Ospreys coach, and the Dragons lads are a bit eccentric. The guy in Cardiff ain't so bad, but Wayne Pivac seems to be the man, and he's got that. He really has that bit of fire in their belly, just the way Cheika gave us. So I can see them. I can see them going a long way. We don't turn up, or we're coming in at 98%. Those lads will roll over us. The only thing is they've won once in Dublin in their history, and that was
the first season that they played in the order. We started playing regularly in the order.
2007 during the World Cup.
And they hammered us.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Put 50
hammered us,
points on us.
53-22.
It was a game that made Cheika so angry.
Yeah.
He would still get angry talking about it years later.
Yeah.
When we were doing the history of Leinster rugby, we interviewed him.
He was still angry.
And that was 2012.
14ish.
We did that video, and Brian flew out to France to interview him, and he was gone from the whole thing. It was 5 years later. He was, like Brian was saying, he still started ranting when he was talking about that game. So every coach has a game like that. Every coach has a game that just sticks in their craw for the rest of their lives, and that's his.
I suppose he was
game.
embarrassed, and that was one of his first games in China. No, it wasn't. Sorry,
No.
it was
No.
2 years in.
2 years.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
But it kind of nearly was embarrassing. Like
Was
I
it?
don't think I've seen Leinster beaten by more than 15 points.
The record
A handful
defeat.
of occasions.
The record defeat in the league was by the same team by only a point more, and it was in Scarletania back in 2004 under what's his name?
Didn't he?
No,
Williams.
Judy.
Gary Hella.
Okay, yeah, yes.
And
Jeez, I've forgotten about him
we
completely.
lost 51-20, I think it was. So we actually conceded less points, but we had a bigger margin by 1 point, I think it was. And that was our biggest loss ever, home or away in the league.
It's very, very rare to see Leinster concede. To lose by double figures.
Yeah.
Even at that. So I mean that was a game that stuck with Cheika. But so the thing is that that's all very well and good. But this is knockout rugby. When was the last time we played Scarlets in a knockout match?
The 12th.
When was the last time we played this Scarlet team? We don't know what this Scarlet. They seem to be a very doughty bunch who might actually respond well to a knockout
Did
situation.
we beat them in the Celtic Cup in one of the semi-finals or something way back?
We never got to a Celtic Cup final.
Did we not?
No.
We played them in something. Played them in Lansdowne Road in one of the seasons.
We played them in Lansdowne Road in 2005, 2006. It was
Good
the match
Friday, was it?
before. No, it was the match. Well, it might have been Good Friday. It was the game before the Munster match.
Okay.
Well, we were beaten by them in November over in Parky Scarlets, but that was, I think, the same weekend as we played Australia. So
Yeah.
obviously it's going to be a large chunk. Presumably Wales were playing that weekend too, I guess.
Well, we were quite well beaten. We got a couple
We
of
came
scores
back and got
to-
two bonus points.
yeah,
Yeah.
to put a bit of a gloss on it.
We were
It
hammered.
showed
in the
good
first
fighting
half.
spirit, in fairness. But we were walloped in the first half. Yeah.
Porter actually was the Porter got over for a try at the end.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was.
They
Yeah.
were beaten 38-29.
That's
So
right.
didn't get anything out of the game.
I think we got
We
a.
did. We got
We got
I
a.
might got 4 tries.
Yeah, we got to try
we got a bonus
bonus.
point. Yeah.
And then we did beat them. We played them on the 4th of March, and we beat them 45-9 in the RDS. And I remember
Hammered them.
Yeah, we had a lot of burns that day.
we did. There was
Yeah.
It's
7
too bad.
burns.
Yeah.
Too bad.
But I remember when we were doing the preview, we were
Sick
thinking,
burn.
God, this could be one of the games that we could get turned over.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised at the final result.
Well, if we get half that
Yeah.
in the semi-final,
I'd be quite
thrown
happy
to
with
bits.
it. I'd be quite happy with a 10-point win. I'd be quite happy with a 1-point win. I'd be quite happy with any kind of a win.
You don't need to look fancy. It's a semi-final. Win it. That's it.
Yeah. So what we have to do is we have to go out with a slightly different attitude than we did at the weekend.
I think we will, though.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Well, I think you said
And some slightly different players.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, we'll have. I mean, it's a semi-final, so if they're fit, they're available.
We'll have
There'll be
Henrose
no-
and Ringshaw,
yeah.
and we'll have Sexton feeding them the ball, hopefully.
Sean O'Brien, we'll have everyone.
Scarlets are.
Just one issue that's a major problem and has been a major problem for us this season, for the entirety of the season, is our throwing into the line-out.
Look,
Matter who's
it's been
doing
a
it.
problem for the last 5 years, I'd say. I remember we played Claremont away, and we had a
Strauss.
we had a penalty, and we kicked the touch. I don't know, 15 meters from the line.
I thought it was closer.
It might have been, and I think on 2 occasions, in very, very advantageous position, we coughed it up.
I think that was
We're doing it
December
again.
2012.
Yeah,
It was.
It was around then,
The only time I was there, I think.
We have 3 very good hookers, but they all seem to have got the yips at the same time. I mean, Cronin's throwing has always been
The least solid part.
the
of
least
his game.
solid part of his game. Now, I'm saying that in terms of an overall excellent game. Strauss has always been more reliable, but they both seem to be, and they seem to have taken James Tracy down with them.
but boys, I remember I was at the match over in Leon, and I couldn't get over. And when we mentioned it when we did the post-match review of it, we were throwing ball over the back, long ball down to 6 and 7 at the tail of the line out. In a match, okay, if you've got the likes of Sean O'Brien playing, Jamie Heaslett playing, seasoned internationals, fellow who's played for the Lions, you can't get any higher. Then you can go for the big glory plays. When you have a bunch of fellas who are really only at the early stages of their career, secure the ball. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you win a ball at 2 if you're on the halfway line.
Yeah.
Just win the bloody ball.
I agree. Maybe it might be time for Brian Byrne to stake his place.
Well, he came on for Clontarf yesterday.
Yeah.
Heard that.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, that is one of the big problems. The one thing of all season that you look at the beginning of the season. What do we need to improve all season? And you look at everything has improved, absolutely everything except that.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, our other set pieces are in good shape. The scrum is in great shape.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's the first time I can ever remember a Leinster scrum being like a
So
dominant
yeah.
attacking force. We held our own, we got a nudge on, but I'd never seen a Leinster scrum ever. Or even,
Tearing
I
into
did have to
people.
say, an Irish scrum, an Irish team scrum, consistently winning penalties at the scrum time.
And it's not as if that's our only party trick like it was under Matt O'Connor, where we had our P try was the highest point score, highest try scorer in one of the seasons. It's we've got everything else as well, so it's great when you have that. You can play them anyway. You can knock the ball on 5 meters from the line, push them over. You can you've got all the options.
And another set piece that has to be said, and this is entirely down to one player, is our restarts. Normally you'd think our restarts would be shonky without Rob Carney, who's brilliant, but Adam Byrne has been a star on restarts for us, and has made that, because they say it's the third set piece, and he has been absolutely brilliant on restarts for us.
And the funny thing was that Wasps targeted him in the quarterfinal, which I was so surprised at, because he's a very strong, athletic fella
And a good jumper.
and a good jumper. And I remember even from the kickoff, he got the ball, and rather than just taking the easy option, get it into touch, your first touch in a big game in the Aviva, he ran it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we kept the ball for over a minute in that first series of plays.
So he's been his work at set piece time, if you like, has been invaluable to us.
Well, he certainly staked a claim for the semi-final starting berth, and there's a few other fellas in there that are staking claims. I couldn't possibly name the starting back row, because there's just so many.
On fire.
He's absolutely Rhys Ruddock. I thought had another fine
Another
game.
good game.
We've got O'Brien to come back. There's rumours that
Van der
Heaslett,
Fleer.
I don't know whether he's going to come back, and then Van der Fleer as well.
I would say that if everyone who's supposed to be fit is fit, and the people who aren't supposed to be fit aren't fit, I would say that the back row would be very similar to the one they played against Wasps. You'd have Sean at 6, Jack Conan at 8, and then it'll be between Levy and it'll be Van der Levy at 7.
Yeah, well.
And I'd say they'll go with Ruddock on the bench to cover.
Go second row.
Go cover second row.
Yeah, it looks like they might. There's so many riches and so many options that are. Like Ross Maloney would probably be hard done by in that
Oh, he will. I mean,
situation, but Somebody's
It's
got to
not
be hard
community
done
games.
by. No, I know. Somebody's got to be hard done by, and if it's not him,
in
it's.
fairness, you're talking about Ross Maloney being hard done by being displaced by a guy who's got what 150 Leinster caps, 100 Leinster caps.
Who are we down with, John
Ruddock.
O'Brien? Oh,
Sorry,
Ruddock.
Ruddock.
Who was absolutely outstanding in the semi-final of the European
So
Cup.
Yeah.
it shows where Ross Maloney has come in a season that was a troublesome season for him, but where he's come to at this point, that he can feel hard done by about being, if he is displaced by a player who's as experienced and in form as Rhys Ruddock on the bench.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
Well, there's a few lads are leaving.
Yep.
I think there's 5 in total, certainly 5. Say, of the
We
senior
still don't
squad.
know where Hayden Trigg is going. It makes me think he's going to Munster
Mm.
There will be skin and
to
teeth
replace
flying.
Leinster wannabe Donncha Ryan.
No, Munster need a prop. Munster need a tight head prop. They're already signing
To the fan
Tete.
centre.
They're already signing Tete.
They
do
love
have
silent centres, don't they?
They do have another
They
spot.
certainly have a fine tapestry of centres.
Oh, they
in
do
there,
love a
but
centre.
They've got
Past.
Reece Marshall. They've got John Klein. So, you know,
Is Ciali
Tete
gone?
makes 3.
Is Ciali gone?
Saili is gone. Yeah.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he wants to stay, but they're only allowed to keep one, and Munster want to keep.
Look, he
Tete.
suits their game.
Yeah.
Saili doesn't. Saili is kind of down in Munster. It'll be kind of like bother him with that fancy shite now. Come on, play rugby. So you know he doesn't suit that. Where Tete does. Tete,
Yeah.
you know, he buys into it all. He's a good Aussie battler, even though he's South African.
So well, we're obviously saying goodbye
Tony
to
and Bundyaki in the centre for Munster next year.
Kirshner,
Yeah,
Hayden Driggs,
Yeah.
Mike Ross, Dominic Ryan, and Mike McCarthy.
yeah.
Like most of those lads were kind of flagged to be going. Unfortunately, we don't know where Hayden's going.
No, that's why I
Hopefully he
think
gets a good.
that's
gig.
why I think he's going to Munster, because they're losing. They're actually losing. All joking aside about Leinster wannabe Donncha Ryan, they're actually losing a couple of locks.
Yeah,
There's the Aussie guy.
Chisholm
is going. Dave Foley's going. Obviously, Leinster wannabe Donncha Ryan is going.
And Daisel was on. It was A. He's a back row,
Yeah.
just like our signing.
Yeah.
And B. He's gone at the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know, back to
So
Southern Hemisphere.
the way it's not been met, why would they not tell anyone unless he was going to Munster? Because
They'll still be going to Connacht.
would we mind if he was going to
They
college?
probably say that.
Has he played for all 5 of the New
All
Zealand
4
franchises?
or all 5, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he's doing a little tour of Ireland as
Yeah,
well.
I think he's a cracking player. He's been a really good player for
He
us.
has been very good.
Yeah.
And he has very difficult circumstances this year with his
He'd
daughter.
suit
and
Connacht as well, though.
Yeah.
He'd suit the role that Ali Muldowney had for
Yeah, he's a
Connacht.
good footballer.
He's great. He'd be great out in midfield, distributing the ball. you
Well,
know.
we'll kind of play that way next year.
That's
have a
another,
new coach.
That's another point.
But they have a coach who likes to run the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the European final rolls into town to Edinburgh next weekend. Unfortunately, we won't be in it, but Sarries take on Clermont.
Globo Gin.
Yeah, against honest Joes, or what is it? Ordinary Joes. I mean, you gotta love Claremont. I mean, their fans are great. They play a lovely brand of rugby, but they're gonna lose.
Quite possibly, although, you know, Saracens, are they running out of steam? They didn't do so handy against Wasps at the weekend, didn't see the game, but they got fairly well beaten.
And one thing
and ended up in third
they
place.
started like
Got to go to Exeter in the semi-final.
Mark McCall started having a little bitch and a whinge about the date that the Lions all meet and they get together and they get their gear and they get their monikers on their whatever their jerseys.
Oh yeah, it was a what do you call it? Admin day.
And this date was well flagged.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And of course now he decides to make a big deal of it, cancelling and throws all his toys out of the cot and says, oh, the 6 lads are missing, cancelled training that Tuesday and you know, it's 5 days before the final, blah blah blah. You just wonder if the pressure's starting to get to him a little bit rather than just rolling with it.
On the other hand, everybody's talking about this and not talking about the result. There's an element of that as well. Nobody's talking about how the players played now. All they're talking about is Mark McCall is complaining about the Lions. So it could well be just a way of taking all the pressure off them, bring it onto himself, and then, you know, they can just carry on doing their thing.
Well, anyway, boys, as ever, thanks a million, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers.